Hey guys, how's it all going? Here we are live. So, yeah, 2 weeks has flown by. So, yeah, welcome back. Who we got in the room? Tavo, hey man, welcome along. Paul E, Matthew Ward. Oh, 6th Street Garage. Okay, we'll change your names there, bud. Phil Dodge Fury, welcome all the way from Australia. New Zealand. Can't quite see the flag. Jeff Hutchins, David Tyree, welcome along. Jeff Hutchins, thanks, veterans. Okay, what's that about, bud? Is that in it? Okay. Stephen Bakybird, waiting with bated breath. There you go. LVG's in the room, and Beagle Bob. Hey, Beagle Bob. Trying sipping on a little bit of your lovely bourbon you gave me, mate. So yeah, very nice. So what's been happening? You guys have had all this time. You've had 2 weeks to mess around with your cars and get up to no good and some mischief, and yeah, let's hear all about it. Russell Finch, Marge update, those seats. Yep, those seats are still sitting there. They are, but yeah, it's funny that I did actually think about them today, and I might actually be getting to a point where I can just about find time to throw the rest of the mechanisms in that electrolysis bucket. So yeah, you can't rush these things. And yeah, been busy with family, busy with work, getting quite a bit done. So that's good. Old timers here. And Russell Finch, cool. Russell J. Finch. Right, what else is going on? So, yeah, been a little thin on the ground with the video, so I know, sorry about that. Beagle Bob, I was glad I had a cool Kiwi knit cap. Beanie, yeah. Got into the 20s late last night and was blowing some snowflakes. Yes, yesterday there was snowflakes whipping around periodically through the day. I wouldn't really call it snowing, but flurries or something, I guess you call them. But yeah, we were into the 20s last night as well. Yeah, but you're not far away from me anymore. So yeah, Russell Finch, yippee. Oh, very good. Old timer sipping Aaron Highland single malt tonight. Very nice. You've got quite the collection, haven't you, bud? You've got a real range going on there. That's awesome. Yeah. So what's been going on with me? Yeah, as I said, family and work. Spent a fair bit of last week working on the old Casper. Getting some bodywork knocked out. Not so much bodywork, but we got the transmission in it, got a transmission tunnel built for it. We got the trunk floor fabricated, and worked with the new tank and with the 6-link rear suspension that's in it. So that was good to get that a little bit of something happening with that car that's sat for too long. And yeah, a couple of other odds and ends. Been working on a Cougar, which that video. I have a video tomorrow night either on the Cougar or on the Red Fastback that I'm sure you guys have seen parked in the shop there for quite some time as well. So we got some cars moved around. Got that red one up on the rack. Finished installing all the brakes, all the big Woolwoods. Got the lines run, got the brakes bled today, got the clutch bled today. Just wrapping up the front suspension as far as the anti-roll bar goes, because of the major moves with the engine and with the engine and with the steering rack. That then you have that trickle-down effect where it kind of messed with the mounting of the sway bar. The sway bar was wanting to be in the same piece of real estate as the tie rods. So yeah, a little bit of Kiwi ingenuity there, and we didn't get it done today, but we got it figured out. So me and Steve, so that was good. So I'll get that knocked out tomorrow, and we'll do a video on that and this cougar I've been working on. So yeah, look out one of those. Honestly, it'll probably be whichever one's the quickest to edit, because we'll film that tomorrow, and I'll try and get it up tomorrow night. So yeah. Russell Finch, Swiss cheese. I've been chipping away at that a little, just getting ready for that. Finishing up some of the welding that we hadn't got to, or I hadn't got to on that last video on Swiss cheese. So that's all done. It is ready for the quarter to go on. So I've been cutting some more of the quarter off around the little back vent window. So that's, yeah, we'll spend another day on the Red Mustang, and then we'll jump over to Swiss cheese, and so Thursday, Friday, and try and get the quarter on that. So busy times, but I haven't got, I got very little, like this week, I've got that Cadillac convertible that I did a video on recently. It's just popping back in for half an hour to get a power window switch in, and that's the only other kind of outside work, I call it, like the short stuff, the quick stuff that comes in, week to week. So it's kind of head down, bum up on the big long-term projects, which is nice. That red car's getting closer. Like, we should drive it tomorrow. We should drive it. Like, probably just yard drive it, because we haven't got the seats bolted back down yet, and I've still got gauges to put in it and stuff like that. So, but it will be able to be yard driven tomorrow, which is nice. Honestly, it's cool. They do start to, when they drag on like a couple of these ones have, it does start to kind of weigh on you a little bit, Now, who else we got here? Wildman 318's in the room. How are you, mate? Steve Sadusky. Oh yeah, like Steve, thanks for that. Everyone give Kiwis Live a like. Yeah, please do give it a like. It does help. Helps attract more people in, even while the live's going on. So yeah. Andy Nichols here. Hey, buddy. Tavo, did we add a Continental to the fleet, or should I not be asking such questions? Oh man, that was frustrating. It was close. But the guy kind of went a bit squirrely on me. I was actually trying to do a deal to buy all 6 cars. 5 cars. And then the LS6 Chevelle got pulled out of the equation, and then the 78 Corvette got pulled out of the equation. And then, I made an offer on the Lincoln Continental and the 78 Corvette. And he was umming and ahhing on that, and said he'd get back to me, and he's just gone radio silent now. So not really sure what his game is, and I'm kind of I kind of just got a little frustrated with the whole thing, the way that the deal just kept changing on a daily basis. And it's like, if you want to sell them. If you don't, or you haven't figured it out yet, let me know when you do, because it was just taking up too much time and energy and thought process, umming and ahhing what he was up to, and research. I did a bit of research on that LS6, and that was kind of looking promising. And but it all kind of faded away. I mean, I could ring him and chase him on it, but I may not. I don't know. But yeah, it does get a bit frustrating when people kind of mess you around a little bit. To be, I don't want to be too hard on the guy, but yeah, it did feel like he messed me around a little bit. But I mean, it's his cars to sell. He's not obliged to sell them to me. But yeah. Right, yeah, okay. So that's that story. Snow Crusher, hey Kiwi, hey, good, welcome along. Chris Freemess is in the room. Very cool. We got a good showing tonight. It's cool. Andy Nickel, missed last week. Well, you didn't, because I wasn't here last week, so you didn't miss a thing, mate. I had my sister was here from New Zealand, and like last Tuesday night was her last night here, and so it was like, we just had to pass on the live, I'm afraid. Looking for new glasses. Gee, damn eyes change every year. Well, I'm hoping mine don't really stop changing now, because they can't really get a lot worse. yeah, they're my up close vision is pretty crap. Tavo, maybe I shouldn't have asked you. No, mate, it's all good. It's all good. Exactly. Yeah. So did Kiwi. Yeah, I missed it last week as well. But yeah, I mean, hopefully nobody was waiting for me to show up. I kind of what am I trying to say? I put a post out about it, did a quick short that I wouldn't be there, and hopefully everyone that needed to know was informed enough and didn't sit there for half an hour waiting for something that didn't happen. Hopefully. So yeah, what else has been happening? Really, with the family being over and other things going on, I've had very little time on the personal projects, the Alpine, or Marge. Not that Marge has had much done to her. The transmission is getting close, apparently. Spoke with the transmission guy the other day, and that's getting close. So at least we'll get that one ticked off, and that can just sit there waiting. Yeah. So what else is happening? Finally had the call from the engine builder, and that Red 64 Pontiac will be getting an engine in the next week or so. So that's finally back. So we're going to finally get Marge's engine up there, because it's an hour and a half trip, and I keep thinking it won't be long now, and I can take Marge's block up and pick up this Pontiac, but the Pontiac engine's dragged on an extra couple of months. So so Marge's engine will be going up there, complete with its stroker crank and new rods and all the fun stuff. So yeah, so hopefully that won't take 9 months to do. We're going to have a little conversation about that, me and the engine builder, because I don't have 9 months to wait for Marge's engine. The parts, we're not struggling for parts. Like, to be fair to the guy, we did struggle for parts a bit on this 389. Engine bearings and stuff like that. The crank was a bit sad, and so it took a little bit of getting what we needed. But yeah. Now, Steve Sadusky, I get that too, Kiwi. Sometimes when I'm trying to make an online purchase, some people are weird, don't know what their motive is. Yeah, it's he did say he'd ring me in 2 days, and that was a week ago. So Chris Freemason, did the family bring you some Whittaker's jam tip? Jelly tip. Close, mate, close. You've been paying attention, so that's cool. Jelly tip candy bar. No, actually, no, they didn't. But they brought some other Kiwi goodies, and the in-laws, Mrs. Kiwi's folks, are coming over in beginning of December. So we've got the order in for jelly tip chocolate bars. Yeah, they will be coming. Andy Nickel, yeah, I kind of get it. He would like the money, but maybe feels guilty selling off Dad's legacy. Yeah, I mean, there's probably some of that. He didn't pass. The guy didn't pass that long ago, and apparently one of the sisters decided she wanted the Chevelle, the LS6, and then the 78 Corvette. So the story goes. And yeah, then I think that kind of took a little bit of the value out of the package, and I think they were maybe hurting. Well, not hurting, but I think they had a number in their head, which we were there. We were there on the number, but then the sister came and pulled the most valuable car out of the mix. So the number went down quite a bit. So yeah, I think they were kind of struggling with that a little bit. But who knows? I'm just letting them. If he sold it to someone else, he sold it to someone else. I do have enough to do. I don't. It would have been fun to have that Continental, but it certainly wasn't necessary. LVG, finally got my wife's 60 T-Bird back on the road. Well done, mate. Well done. That's awesome. That's awesome. She going well, driving well. That would be a 390, wouldn't it? So it should go pretty well. Jeff Hutchins is it Veterans Day today? Mate, oh, beg your pardon. Yes. They all deserve our thanks, without a doubt. I didn't realise it was today. That's my bad. Sorry about that. Stephen Carter, the hostess with the mostess, done with World Travellers. Well, done with World Travellers for a month, and then we get more in December. So yeah. Oh, Urkost. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Hey, Kiwi and team. Champagne wishes and caviar dreams from Torrance, California. How are you doing over there in what has to be one of my favourite states is California? I know not everyone's going to agree with me on that, but me and the missus really like it over there. It's a shame the houses are so darn expensive. So Urkos, was that a typo, the caviar? Wasn't it meant to be a Corvair dreams? Champagne wishes and Corvair dreams? Or did you actually mean to say caviar? Steve Sadusky, getting ready to pull the 350 out of my Monty so I can add more ponies to it. Well, yes, that's always a good thing. Going to throw in my 305 spare engine just to drive it around while I'm tinkering with the 350. There you go. Keep it mobile. Not a bad idea. Tavo, someone has listed a Poly V8 and transmission with park brake on the end. They seem to know a little about it. Should I grab it for the sake of it? $400, been out in the weather. With a park brake on the end of it, so it's probably could be a 2 or a 3 speed. They had the power flight and the torque. What was the other one? There's 2 of them that have the park brake on the back. So it could be a 2 or 3 speed. $400 is not a lot of money, but it's going to cost you a little bit to rebuild. There's probably as much 318 parts around over there in Aussie as there is here, actually. I keep meaning to order a set of aluminum valve covers for mine because that are made in Aussie. So, should you buy it or not? What would you? My next it leads to the question: what would you put it in, Tavo? It's not going to fit in your Valiance, is it? It's a little bulky for that. It might. You can fit anything you want to do, anything really. But what are your thoughts? Where are you going to put it? Steve Sadusky, I'm sick. I'm a sick old school gearhead. I think maybe I need therapy, mate. I think probably everyone on this live stream needs therapy. The way we love cars. Tavo, Kiwi, 11/11, same day we have Remembrance Day. Yeah, of course. Yeah, should have. Johnny C kind of came in late. Were you able to decode the SS? Yes, I was. I do believe it was the real deal, but it's been taken off the market. One of the sisters has grabbed it, wants it for herself. One of the sisters, the daughters of the gentleman who died. As quick as it came onto the market, it went off the market, or at least that's the story I've been given. So, yeah, unfortunately. The low man, yes, sir. The car is running great. 352 Thunderbird. Okay. Andy Nicol in Canada. It's Remembrance Day, or as our kids, it was Novembrance Day. Mike the Slacker made it. Well done. Welcome along. LVG 352 Thunderbird Special. Okay. What was special about the T-Bird 352 as opposed to a truck one? Cost plenty more cars out here in SoCal that need rescuing. Come back out. Steve really liked it out here. He did, and so did I. I've been to Cali a number of times, and we might try and do something like that again. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. It was a very fun trip for sure. Stephen Carter saw a Nissan today they called Godzilla from New Zealand and Aussie, 56 wins, road course. Yes, the Nissan Godzilla. They raced those in Aussie touring cars way back when. And it dominated. It's all-wheel drive, straight six twin turbo. The thing was a little rocket ship, especially if it was wet. Good Lord, it was gone. Yeah, that was an awesome car. Jimmy Richards drove that a lot. Who else drove with him? I'm trying to remember now. Oh, Mark Scaife and Jimmy Richards drove for the factory Nissan team. That was a dominant car. Chris Freemasson, maybe see if the engine rotates and base your choice on that. Yeah. Tavo, looks like 4 bolts holding the iron case to an alloy bell housing. Yeah, that sounds very much like the one in Marge, but I believe that there was a power flight and a torque flight, and the power flight was 2-speed, and the torque flight was 3-speed. Yeah, how would you tell? I'm not sure. You'd have to do a bit of googling to try and get a visible. They are physically different externally, not dramatically, but yeah, they bolt to the same bell housing. You can use either transmission behind that bell housing, so that's the 4 bolts is not a giveaway, unfortunately, but it's probably the shape of the transpan and the shape of the sides of the transmission housing is going to be your giveaway for which it is. Steve Sadusky, grab it to Tavo. No plans for it, just seems like a huge bargain. And just a fun thing to have around the garage. Stick that up on a engine stand and just tinker with it, Yeah, they make some good horsepower. You can put a 4-inch stroker LA crank in it, as I'm about to demonstrate, hopefully soon. But no, that's $400. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like here, that's about what you'd get for them. A motor and trans, you might pay a little more. You might steal one a little bit less, maybe. But it's not here, is it? That's Aussie, so I don't. That probably is a pretty fair deal. Wonder what it came out of over there. So that probably won't have if it's a power flight or a torque flight, it won't have a park. They're just forward, reverse, neutral. Chris Freemasson, you buy the engine and then build the car around it. There you go. Andy Nicol, did you see on World Cup cleats run 562 and Eagle, then got rained out for the final? No. Oh, did you see on the World Cup Cletus ran 562? No, wasn't aware of that, mate. Sorry, it took me a moment to decipher that. Well, not decipher it, but figure out what you were saying. No, didn't see that at all. Josh Homan, welcome along. Tavo, something like that, Chris, makes more sense than anything else in my mind. Here you go. Jim K, good evening. Good evening, sir. Tavo, Godzilla won Bathurst after crashing in the wet. Yes, you're right, it did. It was a little controversial, to say the least. Not everybody was happy about that. There was some talk of how the fact that it couldn't drive itself back to Park Firm should have excluded it, but it's not what the record books show. I remember Jimmy Richards getting booed, or Jimmy and Mark getting booed quite badly because they won it even though they crashed, but they red flagged the race and it gets backdated to the start finish line kind of thing, or the previous lap, or however they work it. And yeah, they were declared the winner even though the car was not drivable. That was a very rare mistake by Jimmy in the wet. That was very unusual, which probably tells you just how wet it was that year at Bathurst. Right. What have we got? LVG, the 352 cubic inch, 300 horsepower, 20 exhaust, 4-barrel carb, 10-to-1 compression ratio. Well, that's pretty useful, isn't it? 300 horse. Yeah, I mean, it's not the horsepower per cubic inch, but, 352, that in 1960, they weren't making, a horsepower per cubic inch. So that's actually pretty respectable, 300 horse. And they have a ton of torque too, I'm sure. It's one thing about those old FEs. One thing they weren't the biggest horsepower V8 of the big three, but they weren't the worst either by any means. But they weren't, the peakiest. But they had so much torque, and in my book, I'd give up some horsepower for torque, because torque is what makes them, and to me, pleasurable to drive. Just having them be able to pull from a fairly low speed, and that torque is what makes you accelerate. That torque, the ability for the engine to pull. So yeah, I like me some torque. Steve Sadusky, I stockpile engines when deals come along because there's older engines getting harder to get. Absolutely. It's actually quite hard now. Not hard. I'm not talking like a 426 Hemi hard, but a small block Chevy is a lot harder. Like it seemed, 10 years ago, everybody had a small block sitting under the shed or under a tarp or under something, they're a little harder to find now. I mean, they're out there, but they're not, they're not falling out of the trees like they used to. Stephen Carter, the 352 Interceptor came with dual quads. I've seen a number of FEs with dual quads, but I must admit I didn't realise the 352 came with them as well. That's pretty cool. Tavo, an LA 318 here would fetch $1,000 every day if it rotates. Wow. Yeah, mate, honestly, I've given away 2 LA 318s. Just given them away. Gave one to Tony, my old mate Tony. Gave one to him and gave one to another guy, a friend of mine. And yeah, they're. I mean, one that doesn't, is not a good runner. It just needs a rebuild, like a good core. $200. That's it, man. So yeah, that's impressive that they're getting 1,000. But yeah, I mean, obviously the availability is just not the same in Aussie as it is here. They made a lot of 318s here. Tavo, are you poly? Maybe not such demand. No, probably not, and no idea what size it is. Yeah, going into Aussie, that could have been it could be a 313. Some of the Canadian ones were like 313, I believe. I think they also made a 317. What on earth they changed to make it 1 cubic inch difference, I'm not sure. But yeah, they did. Being imported, there was a few different engines went to Aussie. I mean, yeah, sure. Did they make a 273 in a poly? I'm not sure. I think they probably did. I have a feeling. So either way, I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's not like a 273 is only worth $200 instead of $400. It's still a $400 engine for you. So yeah, 273 is probably a little scarcer, and all the most you're going to need for it is a set of pistons, and then you just they're not that hard to get. You could have a set from Rock Auto in fairly short order, I would imagine. Bill D7G. Hello, everyone from Delaware. Welcome along, buddy. Stephen Carter, special order on Fairlane and 57 to 59 birds. Okay. Yeah, certainly familiar with the interceptor name, but yeah, that's kind of cool. Now, would that be no? That's the same intake, isn't it? Same intake as a 390, or even for that matter, a 427 twin 4 intake would fit on a 352, wouldn't it? What else we got? Kathleen Mitchell, hi Kiwi, building a 1977 350 small block Chevy. Need to buy new heads. Want to make a daily driver. Any recommendations? Already have an Edelbrock 1406 carb and an Edelbrock intake. Yeah, that's kind of a budget related question, really. There's nothing wrong with aluminum heads for a daily driver. But yeah, it all depends on the budget. And you can pick up some fairly cheap aluminum heads off of eBay. They're not necessarily the greatest flowing aluminum heads you can get, some of the cheap ones. But they're still aluminum heads. You save a bunch of weight. You've got brand new heads. I think cast iron small block stuff you can only buy reman. As far as I know, I don't think anyone's making brand new cast iron heads for them. So it depends a little bit where your budget's at, really. You could spend $1,500 each on heads if you want it, and you can probably spend $300 each on heads if you want it. Budget has a big impact. Tavo, the Royal had the 313 Power Flight, and the same year Dodge had the 318. Okay. Yeah, I knew there was a 313. Andy Nicol, my 62 Plymouth, was a 313. Was that a Canadian deal? Yeah, I mean, I had a 63 Dodge 318. And, when I was like 18 or something like that, like when I was a baby. And for all I know, that 318 could have been a 313. At that stage, I'd never even heard of a 313 way back then, 40 years ago. The lower man, Stephen Carter, I wish my wife's 352 had twin carbs. Thanks. Yeah, that would. There's something pretty cool when opening the hood and seeing the twin carb setup. It really is. Stephen Carter, cop car or no mechanic for the city, LA. Andy Nicol, yeah, Canadian. Yeah, that was a Canadian thing, which is why, yeah, I mean, I know when I say we, Australia and New Zealand, did get quite a few Canadian model cars. So yeah, like that 63 Dodge I had could well have actually, in truth, been a 313, but I don't think that 5 cubic inches really made much of a difference. Jeff Hutchins, World Products still makes a cast iron small block Chev heads. Put a set on a 383, ran awesome. Well, there you go. That's good info. I mean, admittedly, I was just assuming that nobody would bother to make a cast iron head anymore for them. Okay, but that's good info. And if they work good on a 383, they're going to work great on a 350. So that might be a pretty reasonable option, man. What did a set of the World Products ones run you for that engine, Jeff? Josh Homan just put a second carb on it. Well, yeah, that's the old thing, eh? Nothing that money won't fix. But yeah, it's and it would probably benefit from twin fours actually. Like that with that high compression, like they were 300 horse. You can certainly justify a twin 4-barrel. I mean, they put twin fours on the 318s that made 230 horse. So, they were usually under carbs. Well, guaranteed the 2 barrels were under carb. The 4 barrels, they just one 4-barrel woke them up. And The only thing is with the twin fours, yeah, the Interceptor would have had a little bit better camshaft, which probably liked the twin 4 barrels even more. Moore's law, more is better. That's the law. Yep. Well, so what else have we got going on at the shop? I'm trying to remember what's happening next week. Nothing really outstanding from memory. I'm just trying to remember without actually looking at my calendar, but we've got an F100 coming in. We've got a few little bits and pieces coming in, but yeah, it'll be digging, doing a good push as the end of the year's coming up fast to try and make some real progress on these the 3 long-term projects that I've got in there, not including my own. So yeah. Tavo, that's what I was meaning to mention last week. Heard a couple of Rivians got warmed down the road from your shop, Kiwi. Hadn't heard about that. Got warm. Okay. Hadn't heard about that, no. Which I'm surprised by. Yeah, so they like burnt down big time, or thought I would have heard about that. Bill D, 66L. Bill D, what are you referring to there, man? Oh, 2 miles away, really? Wow. How is it you hear about something that happens to be 2 miles away from me down there in Aussie, and I haven't even heard about it? I must have my head in the sand or something. Now, Bill G. Bill, where did I see you, Bill? Whoop, hang on. Shoot, messages all gone to hell. Hang on, guys. Oh, hitting the wrong key. God damn. There we go. I'm just going to change my... Just remember to switch it to live chat in case I'm missing out on any of what some of you guys say. Bill DG D7G 66L. What are you? I may have missed something there, but I'm not sure what you're meaning. 66L. Chris Freemason, you're finishing up the Sunbeam next week, right? Finishing getting the floor out of it, maybe. Hopefully. Actually, that's probably going to be Saturday's job, is getting all the front chassis rails and the floor out of that Sunbeam, so we can get ready to actually get to a point where we do some serious reconstruction. Yeah. Jeff Hutchins used the World Products heads about 30 years ago. They were one of the best flowing ones back then, and the heat retention was a benefit for that engine. Used cast iron on purpose. I think they were... You run out of space there. They were $600 a set back then, so probably $1,200 now. Wow. Yeah, that's up there for cast iron heads. This is set, yeah. You can see that's what they're going to be up against. Is you can get a set of complete aluminum heads for $1,200, and people, like the look and the weight saving of aluminum, and then people always assume the aluminum heads are going to have more power, but that's not always the case. It's not guaranteed, but yeah, it's. Chavo, Franklin Rivian dealer. Apparently one was on charge and went wrong. Wow. I'll have to do a bit of Googling on that, mate. Steve Sadusky, hey Kiwi, is Kev been behaving lately, or is he full of mischief? He's been pretty quiet lately. He's been pretty quiet. I think he kind of got the hump a bit, got the pip. Because I was, had the rest of my family over, so he kind of got ignored a little bit there for a while. So yeah, I think he might be sulking, but I'm sure we'll hear from him again soon, no doubt. Jeff Hutchins, they still make him regardless. Fair enough. Okay, that's good to know. Who who was it? What was the guy's name? Kathleen Mitchell. I'm sure it's not actually Kathleen Mitchell, but it might be. Just do a little bit of searching on the price for those. So that could be a sensible option. Snow Crusher. I had a 62 Plymouth two-door with a 313 in Canada. So ugly it was cool. Mate, that's those late 50s, early 60s Mopars. Quite a few of them are so ugly they're cool. I couldn't agree more. Stephen Carter, Turbo 400 in my tea bucket. Wasting time. Thanks, gang. And you rock, Kiwi. Well, thank you, sir. Andy Nickel, I remember when Mum bought a 73 Cutlass 350. She sold it after squawking the tyres in the drive. I think it scared the hell out of her. Oh, dear, poor thing. Poor thing. Chris Freemason. Franklin is a very posh town. They burn EVs to light their Cuban cigars. Oh, Lord. I hadn't heard that before, but there's definitely some wealthy areas in Franklin, for sure. So, I mean, properly wealthy. Not just a bit wealthy, but properly wealthy. Bill D. 66 Fury 3 with the 318. First car ever tuned up as a kid. Loved that car. 66. So that would have been a Poly 318, wouldn't it? Great engines. Stephen Carter, jigs. Oh, okay, for those cylinder heads. Okay, that makes sense. Maybe Kev went for a 2-mile walk the other weekend. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, a bit of a pyromaniac. That's a possibility. Josh Homan, I've heard that cast iron has better power because it retains heat better. Yeah, that's a swings and roundabouts thing. Yes, yes, probably. Yeah, I can see that would be a thing to have, more power because they retain the heat. But a lot of the older school cast iron heads don't have great flow. The aftermarket aluminum heads, they typically paid a lot more attention to, port volumes, port flow, the flow with the valves, at different lifts, not just wide open. So yeah, while the aluminum head might give up a little bit of something on the heat factor, but usually, unless it's some nasty cheap Chinese head, typically the aluminum heads will outflow the cast iron, not because they're aluminum, but because it's newer technology. These are typically the aluminum heads are fairly recently made, and like if you get a trick flow head or something like that, they're working all the time on improving their heads. So so that's a swings and roundabouts, but the swing for horsepower is definitely in favor of the aluminum head, just because of the more modern technology and the way they're making the heads, shaping the ports, shaping the valves, a little bit bigger valves in the heads, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Jeff Hutchins, loaded World Products cast iron heads on Summit. Wait for it, $1,900 a freaking set. Wow. Whew. That's a lot. That's a lot for cast iron heads. That's a lot for cast iron head. Though I would struggle to drop that on cast iron heads. Maybe just me, but I would go with some aluminum heads, some good quality aluminum heads for that sort of money. You've just it's too many pluses with the aluminum heads. You got the weight saving, you've got the look, and let's face it, we all like to lift the hood of our car and show it off a little bit, and they always people go, oh, aluminum heads. That just looks like it just takes the engine up a level, a notch. And I mean, I don't know. I've no idea what they flow like, these World products. Maybe they've got fantastic numbers out of them being cast iron. I don't know. I don't know enough about them, but it would be interesting to sort of, if you could get the info to compare the flow rates, CFMs and stuff like that on the on a similarly priced aluminum head. Steve Sadusky, correct Kiwi about the newer aluminum heads versus cast iron. Yeah, I mean, as a material goes, other than the heat is the thing between aluminum and cast iron. But aluminum versus cast, as far as how it flows, is nothing to do with the base material. It's all about the shape of the ports, and how the valves are done, size of valves, all that sort of stuff. Now, Beagle Bob, looks like a set of AFR is about $1,700 for a pair assembled. That's where my money would go, man. No, I could not bring myself to buy a set of cast iron heads for $200 more than a set of AFRs. AFR heads are very good. Long time, front runner as far as performance goes. Very good heads, very proven. And not sort of Chinese knockoffs. They're good quality, very good quality heads. I'd have to buy those. Snow Crusher, I have a 318A engine poly and a 67 Monaco parts card in the backyard, as well as a couple of 318 LAs and a 360. 318 poly and a 67 Monaco parts card. Ooh. So that would have the aluminum torque flight behind it too, wouldn't it? With a park. Yeah, that's a reasonably desirable little setup. Yeah. So yeah, that wouldn't have been a push button though, would it? That would have been that'd be a column change auto, I would think. Steve Sadusky, I'm saving up to purchase my own flow bench tester for heads. Wow, awesome. You'll spend some time playing with that. You'll lose a lot of time playing with that. It's interesting stuff to see how different heads flow, and then try and figure out why. That's a black art. Cylinder head flow is a black art, and quite a bit of misinformation out there about what works and what doesn't, and the really clever guys with cylinder heads aren't always in a hurry to tell you everything, shall we say. But yeah, good for you, man. You'll have fun with that. Jeff Hutchins, I would prefer cast iron heads if they flow as well. Yeah, I can see it. That makes sense. That's a very fair statement. I find them stronger, more stable thermally, especially on a cast block. But I will consider cost before buying, not married to cast iron. Yeah, I would look closely at the flow numbers. And thing to keep in mind is focus on the mid lift of the valve. When it's halfway open, not just who has the peak. They typically measure them up to 500 or 600 thou lift. So yeah, compare maximums with maximums, and that tells you some of the story. But say have a lolook at the numbers around 200, to 350 for how much flow is at those amounts of lift. Because a guy told me many years ago, the valves are half open twice, on the way open and on the way closed, whereas they're only wide open once. So don't just look at the wide open, the fully open valve number, look at everything in between, on the way open and on the way close, because it happens twice. And it's like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. It's like, why didn't I think of that? So yeah, but it'd be interesting. Steve Sadusky, AFR are great heads. Yep, absolutely they are. Chris Freemesser, are there issues bolting aluminum heads onto cast iron block in terms of different expansion and contraction rates and the effect it might have on head gaskets? Are there issues? Not really issues. There are some differences. Typically, you'll have different torque settings. And you certainly want good bolts or studs, depending which way you want to go. But, if you're making any horsepower, you need good bolts. It's just, not a lot of point in throwing $2,000 at a set of heads and reusing the old head bolts, But no, aluminum heads on iron blocks is certainly not new. The manufacturers have done it for years, not uncommon. And typically just a really good quality head gasket, spend the money on a good quality head gasket, good bolts, and you should be fine. Stephen Carter, Eric Weingarter did all the testing over 100 heads. The Jegs 195 are the best deal for the 350, 383, my 2 cents. There you go. The Jegs 195 are the best deal. Okay. So what sort of money were they, Stephen? That would be my kind of first question. And how did they flow compared to some of the aluminum stuff? Jeff Hutchins, back in the late 90s, those world product heads compared favourably to the available aluminum heads. Dyno proven wins, in fact. I doubt it's the same today. There's been 30 years of tech since then. That's just it, isn't it? Like the late 90s doesn't seem that long ago until you actually do the numbers, and suddenly late 90s, yeah, that's close to 30 years. And, they have learned some shit in the last 30 years. They have. So, yeah, it's... but, I mean, obviously, they're pretty proud of them at $1,900. And they're not making them to put them on the shelves. They must be selling, or they would stop making them. So, yeah, maybe they're doing something right. So, yeah, probably... maybe it's worth giving some thought to. People are all about aluminum radiators because everyone seems to have decided that aluminum radiators are better. And actually, they're different. They're not necessarily better. They don't actually cool as well, but they look cool. So, and aluminum heads are a little bit like that. Interesting stuff. Tavo, just decided to give that poly a miss. Enough projects already that I'm losing interest in. Now, if I were to find a complete 318 donor car, the Ute might get some more attention. There you go. You just got to keep looking, mate. They're out there. Snow Crusher, Canada didn't get LA 318s until 68. And yes, the console shift with Park. Well, console shift. Okay. Nice. Snow Crusher, I think 66 was the last year for cable shift aluminum torque flight. I did think about a cable shift aluminum torque flight for mine. I did. The trick with it, the aluminum shift cable torque flights had a park, and you kind of then, if you put that into like large Marge, you've then got to figure out how to. Mind you, I think they had a separate park cable, so you'd have to install, some way of actually a cable, mounted system to shift it into park. I'm sure it's been done before. I'm just not personally sure how you do it. Excuse me. So I just decided to go with building what she had. My transmission guy didn't seem to think it would be a problem. So there you go. Stephen Carter, Old Man's Garage has the video. Okay, fair enough. Stephen Carter, proven numbers. Jeff Hutchins, the old copper brass radios are better at cooling but expensive. Man, are they expensive. They've really gotten expensive now these days. I've got one on order for a Pontiac, and $1,000. It's like, dang. But it does look like the factory radiator. Like you said, Kiwi, look cooler but cool worse. Yeah. And I fit a lot of aluminum radiators. I'm not saying they're a bad idea. But I do think certain cars, they look wrong. They just look wrong. Like this one, this $1,000 one I'm talking about, Pontiac GDO, nice car, all kind of stock, and the aluminum radiator just, in my mind, just looks like someone whoever's replaced it has cheaped out. So yeah. But I've sold and installed a hell of a lot of aluminum radiators as well. But the right in a hot rod, like like this red Mustang I'm working on at the moment with the 427 in it. Like that's got a nice aluminum radiator in it, and it looks good. It's got the proper pressed top tanks, not those welded Champion. I do not like the look of the Champion aluminum radiators with their folded top and bottom tanks and welded along the edges. They don't look good. But watch out, there'll be a video coming on that car maybe tomorrow. A little bit of we'll take it for a test drive around the yard. So yeah. The holes. Good job, Kiwi. If you remember the Ford Taurus from the early 90s, the design concept was to make the front end look the same as the back end. It was ridiculous. They were not a pretty car, were they? They were not a pretty car. No, I mean, actually, they were an ugly car, let's be honest. Stephen Carter, my T is brass. Okay, your T radiator is brass. Cool, very good. That's the T model. Is that a Model T or a T bucket? Did you say it was? Did I read earlier? It was a T bucket. Had a T bucket once, many years ago. Teenage years. Had a V6 in it, which was a little unfortunate, but it was New Zealand and not everybody had a V8, and it was a V6. And Josh Homan, not one of Ford's better ideas. No. Ford did the Taurus no favours with their oval-orientated redesign in the 90s. Killed their cash cow with that. Yeah, just ugly. Mr. Freemesser, they were just ugly. Stephen Cat. With Ford script, hate them otherwise. Fair enough. Now. So, hey, anybody out there thinks I should do some Kiwi Classics, I don't know, Super Kev or Marge t-shirts, or just Kiwi Classics and Customs sweatshirts? I've got beanies. Just thinking about now, it's winter here, not an Aussie. Stephen Carter 27 T bucket. Yeah, I thought that's what you said. Yeah. So I'm thinking about doing some sweatshirts, and maybe just put the Kiwi logo on the front, and then just and a bigger logo on the back. Maybe just keep them fairly simple. Chris Freemason, living up north, hoodies are always welcome. There you go. Josh Homan sounds like a good idea. Awesome. Oh, good. Steve Sadusky, I have a question for everyone. If I'm speeding in a Pinto Above the speed limit, am I going fast? Yes. Short answer, yes. Yeah. Jeff Hutchins, I call the late 90s tourist the surprise face style. Always looks like you caught it by surprise. Well, you probably surprised it, but nobody was surprised catching a tourist, were they? They went fast. Tavo, Ford brought the 96 Taurus to Australia as a possible replacement for the Falcon. It was unanimously rejected by the public. Oh, good Lord. Who thought that would be a good idea in Ford Australia? A front drive Taurus compared to a Falcon. Yeah. No, I think, that was never going to fly, was it? I mean, they just weren't robust enough for Australia and the stuff, the roads and the stuff you Aussies put the cars through. Like, I mean, and it's that's not a critique of the Aussie driver by any means, but just it's about the roads that you have to drive on. Okay, there's nice roads in Australia, but there's some pretty rugged shit out there too. And these Falcons got driven all over Australia, didn't they? So that sounds like a spectacularly bad idea, but thank goodness they rejected it and kept it going for them. When did the Falcon finish? Oh yeah, that went on for a number of years after that, didn't it? Of course, 96. I wasn't thinking of the year, but yeah, that would have been tragic to see the Falcon go then. Tavo, so we made the AU Falcon locally. They took too many cues from the tourists. Well, yeah, the AU wasn't the prettiest Falcon they ever made, was it? Yeah, I never really thought about it like that. When you think about the two cars, they did share some styling cues, didn't they? Still a better car than the Taurus, the AU Falcon. Like, pretty or not, it was still a vastly superior option for Australia. Jeff Hutchins, at least the 96 Taurus looked cool. If the SHO had been rear-wheel drive, it would have been cool. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Beagle Bob, gonna have to refresh my Russell's Reserve 10. Only halfway through and I'm out. Well, you can refill your glass and come back, mate. Tavo, lots of the oval theme. Yes, yeah, very much so, wouldn't they? Steve Sadusky, I once tried to power brake a Pinto for a burnout and I ended up blowing the engine with a piston sticking out of the block. What happened? Oh no, really? You must have tried pretty hard. Good Lord. Stephen Carter, the 90s was a disaster, the Yamaha powered SHO. So did Yamaha do that engine or did they just do the cylinder heads for it? Yamaha were known for doing making cylinder heads for people. Chris Freemesser, tumblers exist for a reason. That's right, mate. That's right. Get a handle, like a handle. That's a good Aussie expression. I'm getting a handle. Get a good pint of it in you. Okay. So what else has been going on in my corner of the world? I had to do a bit of work on the old truck, the 74 F100. That was now that daylight saving arrived. Suddenly I find myself driving home in the dark, which I had not actually driven that truck before in the dark. And I get halfway home and the headlights start flashing on and off. And we had a short in the taillights. What I didn't realise was, and it was possibly to do with changing the bed, I'm not 100% sure. but we had a short in the tail lights, which was not enough to blow a fuse. So yeah, it was a minor short, but yeah, it was enough to heat the headlight switch up enough to the point where the little circuit breaker deal that they have a little set of contacts in the headlight switch, and when they too much draw through them, and they open up and cool off for a moment, and it's almost like someone connected your headlights to your blinkers, and they're going on and off and on and off. Yeah, that was a bit of a pain in the butt. So I had to run around and trace the short. And while I was at it, I fixed all the dash lights which didn't work, and a few fun things like that. So yeah, so that was another kind of half a day messing around with that. So yeah. Now the holes. Kiwi, one of your New Zealand comrades built a car called the Folden. And it had an HQ rear end and a Ford Mustang front end grafted together, and it actually looked really good. Check it out. Okay. HQ rear end and a Mustang front end. Okay. Is that something that just pops up on YouTube, or what? That sounds kind of interesting. Josh Homan, the oval design was much bigger disaster than having an engine built by a piano company. Well, that's not entirely correct. It wasn't a piano company building the engines. They were actually very active in engine building. I think they actually even made some F1. Didn't Yamaha make an F1 car back in the 60s? I seem to remember. Or was it a 600cc open wheeler or something? I seem to remember a Yamaha 600. But it was an open wheeler car, like a Formula One car or a Indy car, that style of car. Not like today's ones, but from back from the 60s. But yeah, Yamaha was definitely about engines. I mean, look at the outboard motors, and jet skis and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, but yeah, they're a little bit more than a piano company. Bill D7G, pretty new to the channel. What would you drive every day? Ooh. What would I drive what would I, or what do I? What do I drive every day is my 74 F100. What would I drive? I would probably drive large Marge every day, and probably will when I get it going again. In saying that, the truck is like, I've got to go and pick up an engine this week and drop one off, so you need the truck for that. So yeah, it's and I've got my Audi, which I do like. That's fun to drive to work. It's very cruisy and fun and quiet and well mannered, and certainly very different to the 74 F100. So yeah, it would be hard to tie me to just one car to drive every day. Life's too short to be driving just one every day, every day of the week. Jeff Hutchins, I thought the Yamaha SHO engine was good, but I'm no tourist expert by any stretch. Oh, you and me both, mate. No, I mean, I know of the Taurus SHO engine, but that's all I know. I know they existed, but I don't know anything more about them. Stephen Carter, Yamaha or Merc? I hated fixing them. Oh, shit. Yeah. Now, you mean Mercury or Mercedes? I presume you mean Mercury. Josh, sounds like a Holden with a bad safety record. Yeah, had a prone for crashing into the crowds, I guess. Oh dear. Chris Freemason, not familiar with the major issues with the Yamaha HSOs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Yamaha makes motorcycles as well. Yes, that too. Beagle Bob ordered an 1.7/8 socket. Wow, that's a big socket. So I can do a pinion seal on my F350. Wow. That is a big nut, isn't it? Wow. Jeff Hutchins, Mercury did the ZR1 Corvette 32 valve 4 cam 5.7. Okay, I didn't realise that. Put them in ski boats. There you go, Stephen Carter. Yes, I remember that ZR1. That was a pretty tricky engine. I'm not sure what the longevity was like or the reliability, but that was a pretty tricky engine. Steve Sadusky, it has nothing to do with your wiring, Kiwi. That's to do with not including Kim in the video here, probably. Probably. I think Lotus, Jeff Hutchins, Lotus was involved in there somewhere too. Oh, really? Lotus? Wasn't aware of that, but yeah, it's more than possible. Stephen Carter, Malibu boat had a ZR1 boat. Mate, that'd be an awesome boat engine because they rev. Yeah, the 4 valve per cylinder and twin overhead cams, and that they would just rev, which is what you want. You want to be able to spin your prop fast, and they don't need massive amounts of torque because they don't have massive amounts of grip. They tend to rev up, and then the boat catches up with the prop. Andy Nickel, well, their pianos are very fast. Oh, good Lord. Chris Freeman says Keith Solon hiding from what I hear. Kiwi's kin has that effect on him. Yeah, a little bit nervous around them, I think. They might have been wanting to take him, like repatriate him back to New Zealand. But he kind of likes it here, Yeah, where are we up to? Tava, not the KSV as a daily driver. No. I mean, it's fun, but, going through multiple sets of traffic lights and, lots of other cars around and stuff like that, the KSV is, when you go out, the road's kind of a little more your own, and you can play a little and get after it. The drive is always too short. Commuting to work and the traffic and stuff, you get to work and it's like, oh my God, like that, thank goodness I'm here, or thank goodness I'm home, because you don't want to drive it. It's just not built for driving in traffic. It's really not. It is loud, and it's, the gearing, it's got quite a tall first gear, and, it's just twin plate clutch, so it's pretty grabby, and it's just not. Yeah, it's not a traffic jam type car. Not that I sit in traffic jams, but I sit in enough sets of lights waiting for it to go green and then waiting for the people in front of me to wake up and move, and it just gets a little wearying, honestly. I mean, it's a cool car when the road's your own and you can play. It's awesome. You don't want to get out. Orlando Pockets. Hey, welcome along, man. Is it okay to install spark? Install spark plugs with a hammer. It's a Chevy. Just wondering. Well, now. I know it's just a Chevy, but yes, you really do have to screw them in. But yeah, that's funny. Jeff Hutchins, I'll drive virtually anything every day, only 3 miles to work and back round trip. Round trip? Oh, wow. Yeah, well, you're spoiled. I got 20 minutes each way and longer if the traffic's heavier. I'm 20 minutes, with light traffic. So, Chris Freeman, I've not had the courage to drive my Beetle 7.5 miles to work. Why not, mate? Don't they go forever, Beetles? Don't they just never break down? Beagle Bob, I'm happy driving my 04 Grand Marquis as a daily. Yes, absolutely. Why not? I mean, that's a perfect car as a daily driver. Yeah, lots of luxury, lots of comfort. Ample power, decent brakes, decent handling, AC, I'm sure, and probably AC seats and or heated seats. They'd be like I really enjoyed. I had that Lincoln MKS. That was a 2010. Great car as a daily driver. Great car, just comfortable. You just get in it. You feel just as didn't wear you out. Sometimes, like when I drive the KSV, it wears you out. When you're playing, but it's fun to be worn out. When you're trying to get to work, you don't want to feel worse than when you left. Perfect for that kind of thing, man. Jeff Hutchins, aren't you supposed to hammer in the spark plugs in a Ford modular motor? Back in, so they'll stay. Yes, well, that's actually some truth to that. Yeah, they did have a habit of firing them out. Very much so. But unfortunately, hammering them in didn't make them stay in. It didn't make them stay in any better than screwing them in. So yeah, but yeah, that's funny. David Tyree, ZR1 32 valve was Lotus designed and built by Mercury Engineering. Didn't know that. Okay, Lotus. Well, Lotus, yeah. Lotus were famous in England. I mean, that's where they're from. They put they made Lotus heads for a lot of Fords, the Ford Cortinas, Ford Escorts, all that sort of stuff. They'd make twin overhead cam cylinder heads, all the Lotus, on the Ford short block, and that was a very successful partnership. Stephen Carter, after 3 tail shafts, that ended up with a 1 3/8 fastest ski boat period, or 100 mile an hour. I bet it would do 100 mile an hour. Yep, with a ZR1 on it. Steve Sadusky, yes, Orlando pockets. It's okay to install plugs with a hammer on a Chevy because it prevents pinging. Really? No, I didn't know that. Oh dear. Orlando pockets. Ha, it's pre-pinged. Jim K. Kiwi. Hey. Orlando pockets. Nice to see you, Kiwi. Hope you're having a great night. I am having a great night. I always have a good night on Tuesday nights. I really do. I'm not just saying that to try and be nice. I actually enjoy Tuesday nights. You guys crack me up. Tava, I've got a 40-mile round trip to grab a bottle of milk. Wow. Chris Freemasser, buy a cow. Oh, jeez. Oh, dear me. Yeah, well, that's Australia for you, mate. It's big. It's big. There's always big distances to travel in Australia. But yeah, you wouldn't want to get all the way home and realise you'd forgotten some other little vital thing that you were supposed to get. That would burn you, wouldn't it? Andy Nickel, takes me 30 seconds to get to work. I don't take the stairs as fast as I used to. Just be careful you don't fall down them, mate. That's the next problem you're going to be facing. Getting up and down those stairs without doing yourself a mischief. I took a header down our stairs a couple of months back. Just missed the bottom step completely. Thought I was stepping onto the main floor, and I wasn't. Yeah. Carrying too much shit down the stairs and not really looking what I was doing, in a hurry to get out the door to work. And next thing I was on my back on the floor and shit flew everywhere. And yeah. So yeah, got to watch them stairs, mate. Jim K, interesting car, Beck Festival with an SHO engine in the rear. Same Beck that made the Beck Porsche Spider. Okay. Beck Festival. Yeah, an SHO motor, a front-wheel drive motor in the rear of a car. That's a good little package, actually, because your weight would be in front of the rear axle, or a majority of it, or what had now become the rear axle. Big Festiva. Oh, Festiva. Okay. Oh, so that was actually he actually put that SHO in the back of a Festiva. Okay, I'm with you. Bill TG7, large Marge just got home. Got to go. Thanks, everyone. Wow, there's another large Marge. Okay, not if that's your wife you're talking about. I'd be careful. Andy Nickel, where do you come from when milk comes in a bottle? Orlando Pockets in Canada, milk comes in a bag? Really? Huh. Andy Nickel, that's why so slow. Well, good for you. You're thinking ahead. Smart. And you're doing better than me. Yeah, I doubt Tavo milk does actually come in a bottle, but yeah, where we got? Andy Nichols, Australia, fresh milk in 2-litre plastic bottles. That's true. We get the heat treated stuff in cartons. There we go. Yeah. Steve Sadusky, Kiwi, do we drive you crazy with our sixth sense of humour? Mate, no, not at all. Not at all. No, it's all funny. Yeah, I mean, it's just talking shit with car guys. It's like it's not hard work, No, you guys crack me up, some of the stuff you come up with. It's great. Snow Crusher. Mercury Marine used to assemble the vet engines because they were much more adept at limited production runs. Okay, that makes sense. Stephen Carter, I drove the test boat ZR1 with matching trailer ZR1 wheels, Hunter Green. Awesome. I used to race boats. Okay, very cool. I used to race jet skis once upon a time. The ride-on ones, not the stand-up ones. Chris Freemasson, so to the Canadians, do you put the bagged milk into a pitcher or something? That's a good question. What do we got? Orlando, yes, you put the bag in a pitcher, but you don't empty the bag. Okay, so you leave it in the bag, but just put it in a pitcher. I guess it's all about saving plastics, isn't it? Andy Nickel, I think he's pulling your leg. What's honoured to be? Hey, welcome along, mate. Good to have you here. Chris Freemasson, isn't it about time for Grandad to make an appearance? Yeah, Grandad's junk. He's missing tonight, isn't he? Maybe he's got family visiting. I don't know. Maybe he's still out there sawing trees down. Jeez. Snow Crusher. Not all of Canada has bagged milk unless you're referring to cows. Andy Nickel, Chris, they stopped the bag long ago. Oh, really? Okay. Jeff Hutchins, all our milk comes in a bag. You can see it right under the cow. No. Here, David Tyree. Oh, good Lord. I'll be bugging here. I thought milk comes in cows. Well, yeah, I mean, typically, yes. Kiwi's milk stream. Oh, Lord. So the off-topic topic of the night is milk, apparently. They used to spill milk all over the place, I'll bet. Josh Homan, sawing trees down. Isn't that illegal these days? No, mate. No. Some places, yeah, for sure, but no. Orlando Pockets. Have you ever restored an old milk truck? No, I have not. No, I have not. But I'm sure it's been done. What's on it to be? The SHO engine in the rear of the Festiva is called Shogun. Yeah, well, that's pretty clever. Yep, that works. Stephen Carter, will you guys quit milking it? Oh my goodness. Yeah, we need to move on from the. Oh, here we go. Here's a joke. What do we got? You know the difference between beer nuts and deer nuts? Beer nuts and deer nuts. No. Do tell. Dave, milk bad, milk made good. Well, yeah. I like milk and milkmaids. Yeah, I'm the best of both worlds, mate. Beer nuts are $5.99. Deer nuts are under $1. Oh no. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh dear me. Yeah. Chris Freemasser was. Yeah. Okay. You did that one at the same time. Tara, make sure it's a cow you're milking, not a bull. Yeah, just taking the piss, guys. Yeah. Well, yes, clearly. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Under $1. Yep. Budding. Stephen Carter. Oh, jeez. Barry Cooter's chimed in. An utterly ridiculous subject for a car-orientated discussion. I utterly agree with you. Oh, the puns are running thick and fast. So what's happening down in your neck of the woods, Mr. Barry Cooter? What's happening down there in the sunny South Island? It should be warming up a bit. It's getting cold here, man. It was like overnight last night. It was like 20. It got down into the 20s, 20 something, which is what 5-6 degrees. Minus 5-6 degrees Celsius. Pretty damn cold. Steve Sadusky, we're all comedians. Yep, we all try to be. Now, Jeff Hutchins, Chris Freemasser, you got to keep up with inflation. Yeah, you can't buy beer nuts for $1.49, mate. No, that's not a happening. $5.99, yeah. Chris Freemasser, snow on the ground here, brushed off about 4 inches of snow. Brushed off about 4 inches of snow off the car this morning. 4 inches, wow. That is getting a bit cool, isn't it? Steve Sadusky, great group. Yeah, it is. Very cute. Hello, good people. Josh Heyman, yes, it's utterly ridiculous. Yes. Andy Nickel, you may think we all talk about as cows, but at least we don't talk about sheep like Australia. Well, yes. Yes, there's no shortage of sheep jokes out there, I can tell you that much. No shortage at all. I see what you did there. EWE, that's not a typo. Yeah, that's funny. You guys are on a roll tonight. You're going hard. But yeah, not a lot of car stuff. But that's okay. Doesn't have to be. Very cute. It's finally sunny and warm here. Yes, it should be in November. Yeah, getting ready for the full-on summer Christmas. Chavo, New Zealand sheep are far superior to ours. You would agree, Barry. Yes. They're much prettier. The New Zealand sheep are much prettier, I have to say, than the Aussie ones. Orlando Pockets, I'm too busy chopping wood, no time to car. Oh, dear. That's no good, mate. Hershey, we go again. Steve Sinuski, we all need to break loose once in a while. Absolutely, yes. Well, Chris Freemason. Well, we were talking about Ford, so transitioning into jokes seems a natural progression. Yes. Yes, that's a fair comment. Yes. Yeah. Tavo, Aussie shearers don't wear gumboots. That's right, mate. That's right. Chief Hutchins, did you make a U-turn? Good grief. Andy Nickel, why do Aussies wear rubber boots? No, never mind. Yeah, Tavo kind of stole your thunder there, mate. Yeah, you've got to have somewhere to put the sheep's back legs, don't you? Put them down your gumboots. Yes. A very pleasant image, isn't it? You're making me drink, guys. Driving me to drink. Something like that. When the jokes have dried up, everyone's gone. Everyone's run out of jokes. What's going on? Tavo, at least you had the accent right. New Zealand. Yes, you've spelt the accent correctly. Now, what do we got here? David Tyree, you got to have somewhere to put their feet. So a Scotsman told me. That's exactly it. That's what. Yeah, exactly. Orlando Pockets, how's the wife's car coming? It's been a little neglected the last 2 weeks. Just a lot to do, and I've been away. Doing stuff at the weekends with the family for the last 3 weekends. 2 weekends before that, and then last weekend I had a honey-do list, which included fixing the huge water leak we had coming through the ceiling from the laundry, which was a bit of a pain in the ass. So that took care of Saturday, so I didn't get to work on the car then. So it's been a busy time, but no, definitely getting back on it. We're digging in hard on Saturday, and maybe even a little bit before the end of the week if I can squeak some time and get everything else that I need to get done. I'll jump onto hers. Jeff Hutchins, is it true that Holden utes come equipped with Velcro? I hadn't heard that, but that's pretty funny. Yes. Velcro chaps. Oh, good Lord. Here's a mental picture I didn't need. New Zealand Tavo. Oh, dear me. New Zealand driving test. Can you make a U-turn? Mate, I can make her eyes water. Oh. Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting jokes like that around. Steve Sadusky, tonight's live is totally funny, taking away from the bitchin' times we have working on our cats or customer cars. Yeah, exactly. Stephen Carter, hey, happy Veterans Day to my fellow shipmates and soldiers if you are out there. Yeah, we should really, give a, they certainly deserve our thanks, here in the States particularly. Their veterans continue to work, and do their look after us at a much higher profile than, some other countries. So, they deserve a day for themselves, for them to be honoured. So, yeah, I'm all about that. David Tyree, yeah, but make sure the wool is long enough so you can hang on. Well, you've got to have something to hang on to, mate, don't you? Dave 8334, is this chat 4H or FFA? What a bunch of animals. Well, yes. We're car guys, of course we're animals. Best laugh I've had all week. There you go. Well, we won't be here all week, but we'll be here for the next half an hour, so yeah. Barry Cooter, Kiwi, are there any sheep on hand where you are? No, mate, I can't say there is. I have not seen. There might be some around, but I haven't seen them. Sheep's not an animal that's farmed very much here at all. People, I wonder how horsepower converts to sheep power. Yes. Josh Homan sure seems like it tonight. Indeed. Hey, I got another story for you guys. So, what's it now? Just over a week ago now, but not last weekend, the weekend before. Took my sister up to the Smoky Mountains and hired a cabin up there. Cabin kind of in the woods, but overlooking like fantastic views. Sort of halfway up a mountainside in the Smoky Mountains. Fabulous views, like amazing. And had that blue thing, my Audi, up there. We took that up there. And we were just we'd been busy all day and we were just chilling, had some dinner and playing some cards and stuff. And my wife peers out the window, Mrs. Kiwi, and goes, "Someone's been in our car, the door's open." And I look out the window and sure enough, the door's wide open on the Audi, the passenger door, wide open. And it was like, oh, hell. So shot outside, went round to the open door, looked in, the lid of the armrest was up. And it's like, oh, hell. Anyway, turns out it wasn't the car had been opened, not broken into, but opened. It turns out we inadvertently unlocked it because the Audi key fob, when you get close enough to it, opens the car. I think it's supposed to lock again, but that's all we can put it down to. Anyway, the car was open. A bear got into it and opened the door, according to the local police, because Mrs. Kiwi called the cops and they came up because she was worried that they were still hanging around, the people that had broken into it. So, yeah, I mean, nothing was missing out of the car. There was some stuff that humans would have taken had it been human, but it was a damn bear. And the bear, opened the door, didn't scratch the paint at all, managed to hook the door handle, open the door. You could see the paw prints on the seats, the dirty paw prints on the seats, and where it grabbed the center console, it put one of its claws through the lid of my nice leather French stitch lid on the center console. So yes, while that was very annoying, it could have been a lot worse. I've seen videos on YouTube where bears just tear your interior to shit, but yeah, never really imagined a bear getting into my Audi. But hey, yeah, it's $500 later for a replacement lid in 6 to 8 weeks. But yeah, it's that was an interesting evening. It kind of took a hard right turn when the bears arrived. Yeah, it was definitely not like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. They just were looking for food inside my car, and that was that. But yeah. So yeah, you just never know what the evening will bring. Now, where were we? Jeff Hutchins, sheep to horsepower ratio is 4.1 in SAE. Good Lord. Andy Nickel, Matt from Matt's Off-Road found a bear in the truck eating the snacks. Yeah, well, yeah, when we had been eating, and apparently the bears, according to the police, the bears just see cars as a smart place to forage, and they will. A barracuda. I'm surprised the police responded. I was a little too, to be honest, but they did, so I guess you can't complain. But yeah, he kind of shined his big police torch in there. I've been looking around in there trying to figure out what had happened with my little, flashlight on the iPhone. But yeah, he beamed his big torch in there, and there were the paw prints, and you could see the scratch marks on the lid, on the glove box, the center console lid, where like 3 of the claws had slid over and scratched, and one of them had actually hooked in and put, like a hole the size of a pen through the lid. And it's like, son of a bitch. And you can't repair that, and it was right on the stitch line. because it's like a dark grey with red stitching, double stitching, French stitching, I think they call it. Barry, Chris Freemasson, they do if you drop an Audi. Yeah, I guess there could be some truth to that, mate. I don't know. Mrs. K was pretty upset, so I think possibly she was kind of freaking out a bit, thinking that the robbers, burglars, whatever you want to call them, car thieves were still like at large. So she was kind of a bit freaked out, and so yeah, maybe there wasn't much else going up there in Sevierville on a Saturday night. I don't know. But yeah, when she was talking to them, I'm thinking to myself, they'll never come out for this. There's no way. But they showed up. Jeff Hutchins, bear will rip your door open if they want to bad enough. Oh yeah, the power is amazing. I mean, never saw it, so I don't know how big it was. But yeah, I mean, I've looked so closely at the paint because I was pretty worried about the paint, I'll be honest. Because it's that, very pearly blue that would have been an absolute mother to touch up and try and blend. So yeah, but there is literally I cannot find a mark on the car on the outside, just not a mark. So I'll take it, I'll take it. It was $500, which kind of stings. There's something else I could have spent that on. Like bourbon would have been a better option for $500. But it could have also been, $5,000 worth of damage. But yeah. Chris Freemasson, was this your sister's first trip to the States? What did she think? It's their first trip in about 40 years. She was here in the 80s, I think it was 80s. Yeah, in the 80s, and they went up the Twin Towers when before 9/11, obviously. So yeah, they went up to New York and visited the 9/11 site, and that was. They really, enjoyed it. It doesn't seem quite the right thing to say, but yeah, they really appreciated it. I guess would be the right way of putting it. I thought they'd done a fabulous job on that 9/11 monument, and but yeah, they said it was very, very, very sobering, especially as they'd actually been up the tower or one of the towers. But yeah, they loved it. My brother-in-law he loved it. I think he'd stay if he could. And yeah, they had a great time. Mrs. Kiwi worked hard at keeping them entertained. So yeah, they did all sorts of things, and they travelled around quite a lot. While we were working, Monday to Friday, they were off. Tripping around the place, they got all over the place. So yeah, it was a good time. And then we played hard in the weekends. Jeff Hutchins, don't forget your right to keep and arm bears. Oh, good Lord. Bear, good eats, and you get a rug too. Oh, Lord. Yeah, but if I'd have had a gun and shot at it, I would have hit the Audi and not the bear. That would have been my luck, and then it would have been $5,000 worth of damage. So I'll take it. The bear was, car should have been locked. It wasn't locked. I'm not quite sure how it wasn't locked, but it wasn't. It certainly didn't force the door. That would have been obvious, but yeah. Beagle Bob, bears knew that there was tourists on hand. Yeah, well, where we were staying was a particular area that had all holiday vacation rentals, like all the houses up in this complex. It was like a gated community almost. But yeah, there was lots of these, 3-bedroom cabins for rent. And I don't think anyone actually lived in any of them don't quote me, but I don't think anyone really lived in them full time. They were built to be vacation rentals. And yeah, there was lots of warnings about the bears, which possibly you should have paid a little more attention to in hindsight. But yeah, it's one of those things. I kind of never thought that would happen, but it did. Jeff Hutchins, what's real fun is when the bear locks himself in the car, they get pissed. Yes, I've seen videos of that. I saw one on YouTube where they got himself into an Explorer, I think a Ford Explorer. And, that was done. That car was done. There was just white stuffing flying everywhere. There was not a piece of the interior left in that car. Andy Nickel. What about a picnic basket, Boo Boo? Well, we figured this bear was smarter than the average bear, so to be able to get in without scratching the paint. I was just appreciative that he respected my paintwork and didn't do too much damage. Barracuda, that backs up what I've always thought in the American wilderness, I'd be armed. Yeah, that's not a bad. That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, there's some things out there that will kill you for sure. A bear will kill you if you if it takes exception to you. Stephen Carter, the Ranger isn't going to be happy, Boo Boo. No, the Ranger was not. No, no. Russell Finch, I left my car in the footy car park, had a set of bagpipes on the rear seat. Came back after the game and some callous bastard had put another... Oh, I didn't see that one coming. Okay, some callous bastard had put another set in there. Now that's the joke of the evening for me. That's the best one so far. Absolutely. Andy Nickel, and what was the Ranger's name? Well, in that situation, the Ranger would have been Mrs. Kiwi, and she was not happy. Johnny C, remember the guy getting caught for insurance fraud? He put on a bear costume and ruined his interior. The adjuster saw the video and thought, wait a minute, that's not a real bear. Oh my God, really? That happened? Or why would you do that? Good Lord. Andy Nickel, that's a banjo. It's a banjo joke? Okay. Barracuda, Officer Dibble, or is that... No, that's Top Cat. That's Top Cat. Man, see, you're clearly as old as I am. Where we go? Hang on. Shot down the page. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda. I always go armed, but more worried about the two-legged animals than the four-legged ones. But got them both covered anyway. Yeah. Yep. Dave, you don't have to go to the wilderness. They have moved to suburbia. People feed bears. Good Lord, really? That's crazy. I'm in fairly dense suburbia. And we get deer and fawns coming through with mum, every so often. So there's a fair bit of wildlife in suburbia, and we get the odd sightings of bobcats around here too. Bobcat? Yeah, bobcat. Yeah. Okay, Andy Nickel, what's the difference between a banjo and a trampoline? I don't know. We'll keep reading. David Stephen Carter, Ranger Smith. Jeff Hutchins, hey poo poo, grab the picnic basket and run. Yes, well. Chavo, that's a good answer. You take your shoes off to jump on the trampoline. Head of the class, Tavo. There you go. I quite like the banjo. It played right, the right song. I quite enjoy a bit of banjo. Barracuda. I was mistaken. The 60 gun magazine I have is Gun Sport, not Guns and Ammo. There you go. Okay, here we go. We've got a banjo theme going now. What do you call 25,000 banjos on the bottom of the ocean? There's a similar one to that about lawyers, isn't there? Hang on, where's the punchline? Not enough. Yeah, Chris Freemason, not enough. There you go. Oh, a good start. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've heard that same one used for lawyers, 25,000 lawyers. Yeah, I'd do the lawyers before I sent the banjos to the bottom. David Tyree, so even bears don't like Fords. But apparently they do appreciate a nice Audi. They didn't tear it up, so yeah. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda. I love old gun and hunting magazines. There you go. Eagle Bob. Last time I saw a bear, it got scared away from the dog barking. Silly bear. The dog was only 30 pounds. Yeah, they don't like noise. That's why they say you should yell and scream and shout at a bear if you've got the cojones to do that and not just pee your pants if it was a big bear. So yeah, they don't like because they're not all about confrontation. They just want to meander around looking for honey and food. They're not typically that aggressive unless they're challenged. So at least that's my understanding. But yeah, crossing paths with a mama bear with cubs is apparently a pretty deadly pastime. Barracuda, I couldn't bear it if any harm came to you. Well, that's good to know. Dave 8334, the wife plays the banjo. I hate myself for giving her the first one. Well, mate, you've only got yourself to blame if that's the case. Steve Sinuski. So are you saying, Kiwi, that the bear barely left a mark? I am absolutely saying he barely left a mark. Just one little bit on the center console lid, and I'm very happy. Not happy about that, but I'm very he could have clawed across the seats and the console and, tore up around the shifter and, there's so much more that he could have done. But yeah, so I actually think I got off pretty lucky. But we'll probably be doing a better job of making sure the car's locked if we stay in the Smoky Mountains again. Lesson learned. As a Kiwi, it's not something you have to think about. Yeah. What do we got here? Stephen Carter, bagpipe for the win. Yes, I think so. I guess we ran out of sheep jokes, indeed. Bears hate little dogs more than big dogs. I think it's because it's harder to get a hold of them. Okay. They certainly, and they run around a bit too. They probably spook them a little bit. They're kind of yappy, aren't they? And they dash around. They move, go left and right quicker than a big dog. Yeah. Eagle Bob. I had one, but I was feeling a little sheepish. Boom. Chris Freemason, not seen any bears where I live, but there are quite a few deer. There's quite a few deer everywhere, isn't there? I mean, deer's like a nationwide, in America, they probably outnumber the humans. Johnny C, it was on YouTube too. Funny, I bet it was. Jeff Hutchins, Barracuda, scoped handguns were a rarity in 1960. Mate, I didn't know you'd even put a scope on a handgun. I don't know how much I know about guns, which is really not very many. Barracuda, the rest of my magazines are dirt bike, carcraft, etc. Yeah, I've got a whole stack of old hot rod magazines. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. Dave, hunting bears is illegal in Connecticut, but then again, so is speeding. It's only illegal if you get caught. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Josh Homan, that is true. Handguns are not for distance shooting. No, that seems an odd thing to do, but what do I know? David Tyree, illegal. Isn't that a sick bird? Like an ill eagle? Yes, very funny. Very good. Oh dear, the dad jokes are coming thick and fast. Jeff Hutchins hunting bear is probably illegal in most areas and cold. Well, yes, yes, that will get the attention of more than just the bears you're hunting. Dave 8334. I used to hit the target at 50 yards. Oh, excuse me, guys, I'm yawning. I used to hit the target at 50 yards with my 357. Now I can't see the bullseye at 50 yards. Oh, mate, join the club. Yeah, yeah, I can see the whole target, but not the bullseye. No, no. Andy Nickel, the only one scared of a car alarm would be a bear. Yeah, well, I mean, that would have been, had it still been there when we went out, that would have been the thing to hit that panic button, would have run it off, but that would have got rid of it pretty quick, I think. Bill Bob, the coyotes are the main concern where I'm at now. I keep my 357 on me when taking the dogs out at night. Heard some yapping during the stream tonight. Oh, really? Huh. Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense. Stephen Carter, 73 hot rod with Wonder Breed funny car, my favourite Don Shoemaker. Wonder Breed funny car. It's cool. Yeah, I'm not sure how old. I think most of my hot rod magazines are from the 2000s, like early 2000s. We're just talking about guns and bullets now. I'm out of my depth there. Do you sell Fiocchi 22 bullets, the best I've ever used? Okay, here's a question, Barracuda. Is that best for power or best for accuracy? What differentiates a good bullet from a not so good bullet? For a complete rookie? Oh, wow. Barracuda, my oldest car magazine is a 64 hot rod with John Masmanian's Woolies coupe on the cover. Man, I'd like to get the Buick that I had back in my 20s, my early 20s, was in New Zealand Hot Rod magazine. Had a little feature, a little one-page thing on it in the New Zealand Hot Rod magazine. I'd love to get that. I don't know the year. I don't recall the year. I could probably narrow it down pretty close, but I certainly don't remember what month it was. But I'd love to get a copy of that. That would be pretty cool. Because I think I'm in one of the pictures, and that's a scary thing. Me at 20 is look a little different now. Could be all of this, along the way. Tavo. Milk sheep, bears and bullets and magazines, and just a handful of cars thrown in there, Tavo. Yep, you're absolutely right. Hey, guys, we're running out of time. It's 8:59. Stephen Carter, 1959 is my oldest hot rod, Buick nailhead in a boat. Hey, that's cool. That's cool. David Tyree, accuracy is better than power. So one bullet is be more accurate than another. Like, is that in the shape of the tip of it, or what? Like, what makes a bullet more accurate? I thought it was the barrel that made the weapon accurate. I don't know. Stephen Carter, tell me about the boat. Tell me about the boat. So 59, that'll be a 401 Buick. Good option. Good option for a boat. I mean, that's quite light for the size motor it is, which would be good in a boat. And I know they marinise them. And there was a guy in New Zealand that I got parts off for my Buick, engine parts for my Buick, who was the agent for, I can't remember the name of the company that marinised the Buick motors, but he was an agent for that company. And I got freeze plugs off him, and I think some rockers and stuff like that that was needed. And all because there was no Buick dealers in New Zealand. So yeah, that's where I got some of my parts from. It was from the marinised Buick engine man. Dave 8334. We have some coyotes in the area, but they don't last long in this neighbourhood. Neither do deer, bear, fishers, beaver, or strangers. Oh, good Lord. Okay. Strangers. Goodness. Doesn't sound very inviting, buddy. I promise not to make a surprise visit. On the strength of that. Andy Nicol, I had a big 2-page article about my guitar building in the Edmonton Sun. My biggest claim to fame. Good for you, man. Good for you. When was that? Is that a recent thing or an old thing or what? Josh Home and the barrel is a big part of it. I kind of figured it would be. But Fiocchi, apparently are very good bullets. Interesting. Never knew that. See, you learn something every day. Stephen Carter, you're the best, gang. I will dig it out. Cool, man. Yeah, I want to hear about it. Andy Nicol, many, many years ago. There you go. Hey, still good though. I'm sure it helped the business. Jim K, Kiwi, do classic cars bring a lot more in New Zealand? Well, yes, they do. If you go dollar for dollar, it is. The New Zealand dollar is worth quite a bit less than the American. So if you multiply that, and it brings them a little closer. One of the scarcity, drives the price up. Obviously, there's not as you don't have as many to choose from. So you don't, the sellers don't have as much competition. So that runs the prices up. But the price of actually getting them imported into New Zealand is high to get them shipped. And then you get hit with a bunch of taxes. And then they have what they call complying in New Zealand, where you've got to bring the car up to a certain safety standard. And they really do put you through hoops to make sure they're 101% roadworthy. And that'll cost you a bit. So I would say they're probably dollar for dollar, so they're probably 70% more. I would say that's a fairly broad statement. But I would say around about 70% to 100%, maybe close to double, depending on the car. But, when you hand over a New Zealand dollar, you get about 56 cents American back. So, that's not far off, like American dollar is not that far off being double what the New Zealand dollar is. So, I guess if you factor in the exchange rate, they're kind of not that far apart. Jeff Hutchin, where'd that go? Give me 2 hours, we'll kind of cover firearms accuracy. Not much more complicated than making engine power. There you go. The bullets keep barracuda. The bullets keep going in rabbit stew. There you go. You guys, Dave, you guys take care of the bullets. I'll make the beans. Who's up for the Band-Aids? Good Lord. Might need more than a Band-Aid. Wow, you're just completely losing me on all this bullet stuff, guys. Not that I'm not interested, I just don't. It doesn't mean anything to me. I can't even make any kind of a comment really. Chris Freeman said definitely need more than a band-aid. I've heard about his bins. All right, guys. Well, it's time to wrap it up. We've gone a few minutes over. That's all good. Interesting stuff. Barracuda, I'm a pointy tip man now. What do we chime in at this point? That's what she said. Yes. All right, guys. Hey, have a good one. It's been fun as always. And all things being equal, I'll be here back next Tuesday on schedule. And yeah, we'll catch up then. So thanks for all your input. Thanks for the laughs. And yeah, have a good one. Get to work on your cars. It's winter now. You can kind of tuck the car away and put it in the corner and start working on it. So get to it, boys. All right. Okay, I'll watch out for a video tomorrow, all being well. And we'll see you next week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock. See you then.